Hey guys, DMS3TV here. Today I have with me the Hifiman HE-400i. Now people have been asking me about this one for a very long time. In fact, since I really started the channel, people have been asking me about the HE-400i and how it would compare to the HT600s. Here it is, so check it out. As far as build is concerned, these are definitely more comfortable and more well built, I would say, than the original HE-400s I had on the channel. Does that mean the build is phenomenal? No. There's actually several things I had already go wrong with these. One of which, I know they've changed these since, but I still hate these screw-on connectors. The pads themselves actually started to fall off and disintegrate. I had to super glue them back together. And the fabric behind this grill protector right here completely came off. It was flopping around in there on the back of the driver. Now, comfort-wise, these have been drastically improved, to the point where I would say these are almost on par with 650s and 600s as far as comfort is concerned. The suspension strap headband does make a huge difference, though at times I can still feel a little bit of pressure on the top of my head. It's nothing to write home about, it's nothing crazy, and it's nothing that's going to totally ruin the experience. Usually I'm someone who's very sensitive to these kind of things, and I haven't had too much of an issue with it. The clicking adjustments on the side seem to work relatively well and hold their place, though I found myself having to use it on the maximum extension, so if you have a very large head, you might have issues with these. Then again, I've been told that I have kind of a tall head anyway. These also rotate, unlike the old Hifimans. You can store them in a flat space, say like in a backpack or something. Though I don't think you'll be taking these on the road with you considering how much they leak. But I could be wrong. Sometimes it's nice to hear your surroundings. Now the cable I got with them, which actually came in the box with them, is nothing fantastic. It's relatively thin, but it doesn't seem to tangle up too much, and I really can't complain at all as far as that is concerned, aside from the connectors that go into the headphones, which of course since they have replaced with 2.5s. So with all that out of the way, let's talk about the sound. These sounded relatively different from the old Hifiman. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, the 400s versus the 400i. The 400s had more bass extension and some really weird things going on with the mids. And by that, I mean that the 400s, the original 400s, had a huge gap in the mids where everything was missing. The 400i sounds, and I say sounds, not measures, but sounds a lot like a planar version of the HT600. Now, it does have slightly more bass extension, though not very much, and rolls off. It doesn't quite have that intense planar bass a lot of people expect. But the mid-range is extremely full, with just a little bit of a dip from 2 to 4K. Treble comes back up and is kind of uneven throughout the range, with a noticeable spike at 8K. Now, this doesn't make them sound extremely bright or uncomfortable, but it can add a little bit of fatigue to your overall listening experience. Now, one thing I was extremely pleased with on these was how far treble actually extended. For people whose hearing still extends up to 20 kHz, you'll be pleased to know that these can fill that gap quite well. This seems to give music a more airy sound, which I tend to like. And while I wouldn't mind if they were a little bit warmer, I'm pretty pleased with frequency response on these, especially considering their price point. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about Soundstage, imaging, and separation, all of which are actually excellent. The Soundstage does improve slightly, I've been told, if you take these grills off, though then of course you are exposing your headphones to the elements, and you could potentially damage them if something gets in there. Now that dip from 2 to 4 does provide a wider soundstage. Now it does come right back up at 4, which allows for some vocal presence to be preserved. And with these factors together, it accounts for a very pleasing presentation. Center image is crisp and clear exactly where it should be, and both horizontal and vertical soundstage are more than adequate, especially for a headphone in this price. And with the inherent speed of planars, especially using them on a faster amp, I could hear some things in the highs that I actually wasn't able to hear on my beloved HT600s. Now, does that mean that these would take the cake over the HT600 as a neutral gold standard? Probably not. I still think the HT600 is one of the ultimate reference points for audio. But if you want something a little bit more fun, that still maintains a relatively neutral sound signature, the HE-400i is an excellent contender with a perfect price point. So guys, I hope you really liked that video. The next one coming up is the KZ ZS5 in-ear monitors. So stick around for that, and I will see you guys next time. Peace.